So, in week 3 for the paragraph exercise, you are given the thesis statement of follow your passion may not be the best advice when blank, because unless blank. Now, if you're feeling like you have a hard time answering this or filling in this blank or writing on this topic, I have given you an alternative in the online class session that you can use, which is basically a passion can be hard to find because blank. So if you don't like this thesis, try the other alternative I gave you in the online class session. All right, now there's a couple things I want to point out about this week's paragraph exercise. The first is that you need to have a quote from chapter 6 in this week's paragraph exercise. And you must also include the in-text and bibliographic citation within your paragraph. So, a refresher where you can find citation information is under this document right here. And what I especially want to point out is that on the 8th page of this document, you are given the 5 parts of what a quote should look like. And I want you to make sure that your supporting point in the paragraph looks like this. You introduce who is saying this quote or where it's from. You give the quote with quotation marks around it. Remember, we always use quotation marks when we're borrowing word for word. You include the parenthetical citation or the footnote if you're using Chicago. And then, most importantly, you explain what the quote means, all right? You have to do this with every quote that you give. So you only need to provide one for this essay in one of your supporting points. Now, the one last thing I want to point out is if you go to the template that we've been using, which was under course resources for the paragraph exercise, in the directions for this assignment, it does say that you no longer need to label the different parts of your paragraph. And what that means is that in this template, in the bold from weeks ago when you had to label your topic sentence and each, supporting sentences, you don't have to do that anymore. So you can leave these little labels out. They were just to get you guys to focus on how a paragraph is structured, but they're no longer required. Okay. Instead, make sure you include the works cited citation. Now, this is according to MLA format down here, but if some of you are wanting to use APA or Chicago, make sure that you format it appropriately. Okay. So, those are just the little changes for this week. If you have any other questions, feel free to get in touch with me.